Ladies and gentlemen, we just want to let everybody know we're just waiting for some other guests to make their way in from the parking lot, so we'll be just starting in about 10 minutes. Thank you.
If you go to the other side,
Do that one.
Just the next row once it fills up. Okay, guys. Perfect.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming to celebrate the life of Jerome. My name is Angie Clary. I'm a friend of Jerome, Cassandra's, and Leif's, and Discovery House. I've known Jerome for over 10 years. Excitedly found out about Leif while meeting up with Jerome and Cassandra in the back of the Madnigo parking lot in Kelowna. Jerome was a Penticton Bees fan, I was a Vernon Vipers fan, and in fact, I won this jersey at the Penticton Bees game, and the Vipers won that night. At Jerome's request, this memorial is to have two things: the feeling of a recovery meeting and a fundraiser for Discovery House. While some say or feel Jerome's memorial isn't the right place to raise money for a Discovery House, I don't know of a better way to honor him or a better organization to raise money in his honor, and it was his request, and I'm challenged and honored to do that. And if he was here, he'd be taking your money anyway. So thank you for coming. Oh, I should say we're up to, the pot is $2,000, so $1,000. And so what we'll do right after the service here is we'll open it up for like 15 minutes. I'll probably be at that table and I'll take all of your money. And then first off, shut off your phone, because if you don't shut off your phone, you're giving me $100. Go to 50-50, okay? So next I would like to, you're gonna give me 100, Lee?
No, yeah, if the phone starts, then you'll have to give you $100,
Yeah.
and the pot will,
Don't you think that's-
then the pot will be 2,000 like 100.
Exactly, that's what I'm doing. Your dad would do that, right? Yeah, leave them on. Anyways, I'd like to acknowledge Mike Pond, Jerome's good friend.
Well, hi there.
Hi, Mike.
My name is Mike and I am an addict in New York. Thought I was done with crying. Yeah, I met Jerome about 14 years ago when he came into Discovery House. Couple garbage bags worth of stuff and a challenging attitude. And just a big bundle of potential, unrealized potential. Those of us that are in this room have been honored to witness that unlocking of that potential. When I look around this room, when I look at what he's accomplished, what he's done personally, what he's done for his community, what he's done for his family, the parenting, what he's done for his son in 14 years is amazing what can be done. I had the good fortune of being called a few times in the first few weeks, to help carry his garbage bags back into the house and put them on his bed, and help him to stay. And in return, he gave me the good privilege of driving him to get his methadone and telling me everything that was wrong with Discovery House and what we needed to correct. So this should be a celebration. All of us should be very happy, because if history proves true, Jerome's already told God everything that's wrong with heaven. And should have it straightened out by the time we get there. Thank you, Jerome. I've never been nervous public speaking, but I am this time, because I don't know how to truly express what he has meant to me and continues to mean to me. It's been a relationship like none other in my life. Discovery House a number of years ago, there was a changing of the board, and there was a few of us left in the room. After a bunch left, we didn't have much money in the bank, and I had to let our current house manager go. And that's when I looked at Jerome. I knew inside of him that he was, I just knew he was the guy. And we struggled to achieve some dreams, and he did it. Jerome we had fundraisers. I started the Father's Day. I think we made $500 the first one. And I started the golf tournament and made $700. The suits, my first suits, I think we made $300 or $400. And Jerome took everything we were doing and made it over 1,000 times better, 20,000 times better, 30,000 times better. It was amazing. You know, it's funny, in the Just for Today, for NA today, it was about being self-supporting. And what I saw in Jerome right away is he was out there collecting bottles and being self-supporting right off the bat. He was always great with his money and great with his time. And yeah, I've been not sure, I can't express in words. And I've also been afraid that in doing this, that if I screw up, he's gonna haunt me for about 2 or 3 weeks. Because if anybody can, he will. So, as Ange said, it's Jerome's desire that we treat this a little bit like a meeting in the way that this is a really safe place. This is a really safe room. We're all friends of Jerome in here. Jerome had a laugh that would fill this room. You couldn't miss Jerome's laugh. My son lives across the way from Jerome's place, and we could hear him laugh with the windows closed across the parking lot into our place. And I'd say that's what will miss the most, but I won't, because I can hear it. I can hear it. Jerome lives. I lost my father about 30 years ago, and most every morning I say good morning to him, and I feel, and when I open my heart, he's there. And I've found with Jerome the same thing. Since his passing, I've said good morning to him every morning, and I've felt him with me. I've had some of the best conversations with him I ever have, because I got a few words in. I think he might even have been listening. But we've all been touched by Jerome. This is a safe place, so please, if you feel like laughing, laugh. If the person beside you is crying, laugh anyways. If the person beside you is laughing and you feel like crying, cry. There's one thing that Jerome was fantastic at, above all else, and that was expressing himself. He always knew where he stood, and he always knew how he felt. And we'd honor him today by doing the same. We will be opening up the mic for people to share. And I want to encourage people to share how he touched them, because it's a room full of people that did. Yeah, I love my buddy. He's still with me. So we're going to have Jennifer, his sister, come up and do the eulogy. Thanks, Jennifer. Please.
I brought my Kleenex. I will be tears. Brought my $2. If anybody knows about Jerome's $2. Didn't ask for a dime. I asked for $2. My glasses I don't think I need. Okay.
You got this.
Okay. It's gonna come in waves. As Jerome would say, I could breathe through anything. Jerome Ward's Abraham was my older brother. And I know he would have been happy and so grateful to know all of you are here to celebrate and honor his life today. My name is Jennifer Abraham, and I've known Jerome my entire life. The big brother, the person that protects you when you're growing up, makes you crazy, and keeps all your secrets. They know you because they know who you are and where you came from. I'm sure we are all feeling Jerome was taken far too soon. He left us with some pieces of wisdom, movie lines, annual events and fundraisers, eloquently written poems, and memories that will evoke strong emotions, quite often leading to laughter or appreciation. Growing up, Jerome was always active and fun, usually doing something maybe we 100% shouldn't have been doing. Definitely more him than me. When we were younger, I recall him picking the neighbors' flowers, then proceeding to go and sell them
their own flowers. He was always a natural salesman, conjuring up ways to make money. It was his idea to make a haunted house, selling tickets to the neighborhood kids. Wasn't a very good haunted house. Some sheets strung up down the hall and into our kids' living room and then straight back out the door. Even though it wasn't very good, it kept on coming. He collected seashells on a family trip, returning home to, you guessed it, sell the shells. Jerome excelled in school and sports. He was well-liked and well-dressed in high school. He was well-known for wearing dress pants and shirts. No to school every day. No jeans for Jerome. One thing his passion for hockey taught him was the dress code, and he carried that forward in everything he did. Always at the top of his game with goaltending talent that was unmatched. It wasn't much different for the rest of his life, an overachiever in everything he did. He had excellent grades and huge dreams, purchasing his first home shortly after high school. Unfortunately, a serious car accident took the lives of two of his best friends, leaving him as one of two survivors. The course his life took for the next decade or more after that accident eventually led him to Discovery House. Discovery House took Jerome in with all his possessions packed in a few trash bags, as Mike has identified. From the moment forward, Jerome was never the same, and I don't think Discovery House was either. You've met Jerome, you didn't forget him, he made that impossible. Out of sheer love or frustration, or a combination of both at times. His personality was infectious. Even if you weren't his biggest fan when you met him, you might be if you gave it some time. To quote one of his favorite shows, Costanza. If you know, you know. He grew on you, and before you knew it, you were a part of something special. He entered Discovery House to work on himself and his recovery. When he left, he was the executive director. Jerome found himself at D House. He loved himself again and started to love others. I remember him calling and telling me he was responsible for the keys to the medication cabinet for other people. He chuckled. He couldn't even believe that they thought he was that responsible. The more responsibility he got, the more it fueled his fire to grow in his recovery and as a person. He had so many bright, shining stars that weren't willing to give up on him. His passion for recovery was felt by so many as he became a beacon of light for so many others. He shared stories about his countless hours in the community on the outreach van with his sister from another mother, and now my sister Sandra. Thank you, sister, for loving our brother.
I want to thank everyone who stood by Jerome and loved him when he couldn't love himself. Showed him how to love again and reminded him how good life was. Yes, Jerome illuminated our world, but so many of you were a ray of sunshine when he needed you most. It was impossible for him not to see the path he needed to be on. Your love allowed him to move forward. And thank you, Jim, Blaine, Mike, and many more from Tea House, and the community that supported Jerome's events, golf tournaments, soups, Shed the Light, and a fan favorite, watching Jerome get dumped at the Father's Day dunk tank. On December 14th, just a few days before going to the hospital, Jerome had posted this poem. The poem was on his wall 13 years ago when he arrived at Tea House. Do it anyway. People are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you're kind, people may accuse you of selfish or ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you're successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyway. If you're honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest and frank anyway. What you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build it anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may be never good enough. Give the best you've got anyway. You see, in the final analysis, it's between you and God. It's never been between you and them anyway. If Jerome touched your life, returned it to your family, stood by your side when nobody else would, pay it forward, and go do and be the things that Jerome was for you. It's our turn to carry on. Do for somebody that needs it most what Jerome would have done for you.
Through his time at D House, he met the love of his life, Cassandra Morrison. The calm and gentle side of Jerome began to flourish with their love. A love meant just for them, not tailored to typical norms. It was theirs and it worked better than most. His love for Cassandra was evident and only strengthened once their son Leif arrived. Their love filled with patience and compassion. They have been such amazing parents, allowing Leif to express himself and meet his full potential, exploring all avenues of education. Just like his dad, he's smart, relentless in the pursuit of his dreams, and will let you know when he doesn't approve of something. And he has a heart of gold. Being a dad was one of Jerome's greatest joys. A family trip we took last summer is etched in my mind. We're at a playground with Leif, and Jerome told Leif, "Auntie will do the animal noises." I had no idea what he was talking about. You remembered. He started hopping around and acting like an ape in the middle of the playground. Some guy was walking by and looked at Jerome as if someone had escaped from the psych ward. The guy couldn't get out of there fast enough. Nothing was too wild, crazy, or loud for Jerome. Sorry. His ability to have fun and engage in the moment has served him well as a father of not one but two sons. After finding his son Peter a few years ago, there was no question he was a very proud dad. A son who had overcome so much diversity and was navigating his life with courage and honor. Jerome was in awe and so proud. Always talking about his children and their accomplishments, and most of all, how impressed he was at what kind-hearted and loving kids he had. Jerome spent a lot of time attending meditation retreats and studying Buddhism. I could never believe he could be quiet long enough to attend an entire retreat. And as you know, being quiet wasn't one of his strong suits. Growing up, he was not allowed to watch Seinfeld or The Simpsons after people had gone to bed. His laugh was so boisterous, he could wake the entire house. He was certainly an engaging and enlightened soul, always working to better himself. One of his favorite places for meditation break was up on the mountain amidst an action-packed snowboarding day. The joy and peace he felt under those sunny rays and snowy days was evident in the huge smile on his face and the drive to get back up the mountain as often as possible. I will miss Jerome every day of my life. And I've always felt so lucky to have had a best friend. If you are ever missing him, looking for guidance, needing a good laugh, I'm sure he'll find a way to let you know it's there. I had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with Jerome in the last 3 months. We had the chance to say the things we needed to say. I was granted the time to care for my brother when he needed it most. That time was such a blessing. There was nothing left unsaid. It is so important to have the difficult conversations before you no longer have that option. Jerome and I were able to freely converse and share some special moments together. I wanted to share one of our conversations with you shortly before his journey came to an end. I asked him what signs he would send so we would know he's around. He told me 3 things. When you see tigers, think of me. They're my Chinese symbol. When you see cats doing funny things. But maybe the most important and something that we can do. He said, when you want to talk to me, find a quiet place between the trees, close your eyes, and feel the breeze. That will be me talking to you. Feel free to make requests. He may be taking them. Probably looking for something to do, so. In the days that after he passed, I had hoped for signs of some sort. One night I had a dream. He lay there sleeping peacefully. The next thing you know, there was a sandwich from Il Vecchio's in my dream. I'm not from Penticton, and I've only had their sandwiches once with Jerome. There is no doubt it was his way of letting me know this message was from him. You knew Jerome, you knew he was a foodie and a dinner coordination advisor. Even while he was in the hospital back in December, he was worried about what he was going to get served and what everybody else was going to eat, because he sure wasn't going to eat that hospital food. He was lucky to have so many wonderful people that loved him. He had deliveries to the hospital on the regular, and according to him, one of the reasons he ever made it out of the hospital. That and the overwhelming support from friends and family, the doctors were speechless with his fight and progress against all odds. I kept telling them, when the chips are down, you never count Jerome out. He rallied again through the strength of his loved ones. Our family would like to say a special thank you to Shaunak for spending several weeks with Jerome after being released from the hospital until the family could take over. A collaborative effort of care was established to allow Jerome the peace of being at home with his family for as long as possible. He was never a quitter, and he wouldn't stand by and let anyone else be one either. Every time I think something is hard or difficult,
I just remind myself of the courage and bravery my brother showed so many times in his life. I could go on and on all day about my brother, but I want you to know that Jerome is a better man for having known each and every one of you. I thank you for loving him and accepting all of him. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Next, I'm gonna ask Cassandra and Leif to come on up. Wow, there's a lot of people here.
Wow, yeah.
Thank you all for coming and being here. Jerome, he taught me how to be in love, how to be in community, how to love, how to accept help, how to be a part of. When we started our friendship, he was coming to my yoga class, and he wrote me a poem. We had one night after my yin class, we ended up standing and by the window, we talked for a couple hours, and it started snowing. It was in November in 2011. And then shortly after, he emailed me this poem, so I'm going to read it because this is why Leif is here today. But this poem is what made me interested in Jerome as more than a friend. It's called, I Don't Think You Really Know Exactly How Amazing You Truly Are. I just have to stand sometimes and watch you from afar, sparkling away like a distant star. For if I come up too quickly on this immense energetic fire, I may simply burn to cinders, just melt away in desire. And I kind of want to let this go slow and calm. For this amazing light in you, I would admire a lifelong time, if I could. I probably would just stand back and watch it shine. Every time you say things that blow my mind, crack open my soul and expose me blind, but I just don't know quite what to say. So I just stand, stunned, complete, and blown away. Oftentimes I'd like to confess, but I really have no words to express how good you make me feel. Many who know me would give you a trophy for being the only person to ever leave me speechless. But truly, you have the awesome ability, a spiritual agility that I aspire to, a replete, empathetic, and natural grace to reach this deep down, amazing place, to seep into the caverns and recesses of my long dormant sleeping heart, to tear it apart and rebuild it again, within the space of an hour, with a twist or a bend. And so I really want to thank you, my friend, and tell you that I really wished you knew what the world thinks of you, because like the snow falling on the ground tonight, you are cool, soft, alluring, and bright, absolutely naturally beautiful, inside and outside, all right? So yeah. And I remember remember talking to my friend Anne and saying, he sent me this poem, like, what does this mean? And I'm like, it sounds like he likes me. But he said, my friend. So I was a bit confused, but we sorted it out. Yeah, so I'm really honored to know Jerome, and I'm not willing to speak about him in the past yet, because I can't let him go that way. And it helps me going back to those early days, and remembering the early times with him. So now Leif is going to also read a poem that Jerome wrote, and maybe say a few words as well. Actually, I think you can just adjust it. Easier to all of that.
Oh, louder. Hi. I brought this up with me.
There.
Okay, hi. Hi. My dad wrote this poem based on 2 lines of a poem I was learning. The birch trees lean against the sky. So what you're saying is, by Jerome Abraham. The sky was falling out of night, but we didn't care that the evil cactus was aware that we were watching, no one talking. We drank the sunlit milk and all day until the sky all went away. Everything did, I guess, but nothing ever happened next. And we'll all miss him. So everyone in this room and more will miss him. He was known for a lot of people. A bunch of people are like, oh hey, I knew your dad. He dropped a bottle to me with you. Oh, I have blueberries. He dropped off blueberries for me. Yeah. Of course, everything that sponsor blueberries. And a really big room. There's. Oh yeah. Ever since he died, he's been sending signs. So first, when we came back home, the flower. What type of flower? Now I can't remember flower. Hyacinth. Now I can't. Wait, it wasn't a now I can't remember flower. It was a hyacinth. It had bloomed the night we got home from when Dad died. So that was a great sign. And just every day for 3 mornings after he died, it had been snowing, heavy snowfall. Yeah. And once it wasn't snowing, once it became warm weather, he couldn't send snow, so there was a license plate. It started with G49. And I remember that he died at 49 years old, so that was a sign. Plus, the way to misspell Jerome is Gerome. Thank you.
I'm going to ask Jerome's friend Jake Martins to come up.
As Angie said, my name is Jake Martins, and this is hard.
You got this.
Now, can I apologize? This is real, I'm a man. I've known Jerome since 1985, when I moved to West Bank. And shared classes with him until graduation. I remember, well, I remember a lot of memories about him. That's why I'm here to share them. His parents, or his mom and stepdad, picked me up in 1989 to go see Howie Mandel. He was in town. And they built up, I like funny stuff, I do. And that was just when our friendship kind of began. Like, I realized he liked funny, I like funny, and we had stuff to talk about now. We were also on the rugby team right till graduation, and we were always in the scrum together. We were yoked to each other. We were equal in strength, but we were equal in anger, I guess, if we needed to make things move. He was angry, I was strong, and I was fast. He just passed me the ball, and we became the city champions that year. Thanks to us, I'm sure. And he helped me with homework. He would give me book reviews. He would give me, I didn't like reading, and he was pretty good in school. I think he had all his credits by grade 12. He'd help me before class would start with quick recaps, which greatly helped with tests. And there was a mandatory student assembly where all the grade 12s or senior classes had to do a mock parliament. Oh, you remember?
Yeah.
And all of us were given strict instructions. You flinch, you get docked marks. The teachers just sat there and we had to like come up with laws, and boring is the real problem, it's the worst. And Jerome already had all his credits, I believe. And to him that was just fun. He had to be there, and he was just making awkward questions. And finally, halfway through, he goes, "Madam Speaker, I'd like to move to start my own party," and he removed his pants. And he went and sat in the middle of the gym, grabbed a chair and sat there in his boxers. I think there were heart shapes on them. And the teachers just looked around for anyone to join him. I wanted to, but I couldn't. I needed that mark. But others did. Others did. I didn't have boxers on, so others did. And things like that. In Spanish class, I was from Mexico. I got immigrated here in '81. I was a white Mexican, born in a German village in Mexico. It made a little weird story, but he loved Mexico and things of that nature, including tequila. And he came back at some point in grade 12 and he goes, "Hey, I learned some Spanish." And he's like, "You have to say, evita la cruda, siga borracho." I'm like, I know what that means. To avoid the hangover, just stay drunk. And I don't drink, so and by grade 12, we were pretty good friends. We kept in touch, even though we didn't hang out. We were friends. You don't need to, keep in touch every day to be good friends. But I remember our grad class was a dry grad, and a lot of people winced at that. But we had a casino night, and him and I were, well, he had won every table, and I didn't gamble at all. I was just bored out of my wits. He goes, "Well, let's try the karaoke contest." I'm like, "Okay, we can do this, right?" And we won. We sang, Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys. I was Willie Nelson. We won, and it was a ghetto blaster. But because there was two of us, they decided that none of us get it because there was two of us. And he's like, no, give it to him. I don't want it. I was like, yes, I agree. So they gave me a certificate to a mechanic instead, which everyone thought was funny because my car was always in the shop. Wasn't funny. After that, after grad, I moved to Winnipeg for a stint, and I drove truck. And I was in June, it was just before Canada Day weekend. I get a phone call from one of my family members here in Kelowna and says, Jerome's at the airport and he needs you to go get him. And I was like, Jerome Abraham? Yes, do you know another Jerome? Well, his dad. No. Well, he's waiting for you. And I'm like, okay, but for the days of cell phones. I drove there, he's there, he got stuck there. He was supposed to be in Ottawa for the long weekend, and he didn't make it. So I was his, not chaperone, but his host. And we went back to Richer, Manitoba, which is a one-horse town. No, it's a one-mule town. They didn't have horses. And all of a sudden he gets a bright idea. If I hire you to drive me to Banff, which is in 2 days, he wants to be there for Canada Day, could you do that? And I just said, sure, let's do it. So next day we hopped in my car and drove to Banff. We had no funds for hotels or anything, and I don't think I had enough money to get back at that time. But off we went. And in Saskatchewan, it got a little long and boring, so I put the pedal to the metal a little bit. I had a 5-liter Mustang, which could go a little faster if you needed it to. And then I saw the policeman going the other way, and his lights come on. I kept going for waves. And Jerome's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, he's gotta catch me, you know? He's gotta catch me. He wants me so bad, he's gotta catch me. I finally slowed down, it must have been 10 minutes. And I pulled over, and we may or may not have had open alcohol in the car. And that may or may not have been an issue, but it wasn't. When I pulled over, about 1,000 mosquitoes came into the car. And Jerome did his best at hiding everything he could. And if you ever seen Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke, one of them eats everything. No, it wasn't quite like that, but it could have been. And I made the issue about the mosquitoes, and the cop just, after he came back, said, no ticket today, sorry about the mosquitoes, drive slower and be safe. And Jordan looks at me and says, are you a Jedi? You'll never know. So nothing. I made it to Banff, dropped him off, and I lost all my money at a gas station, so I had to find him somewhere in Banff, which I finally did. He gave me enough money to get home. Thank you, Jerome. And after that, we were in separate lives. I was freshly married, and my wife was pregnant when he knocked on my door on New Year's Eve one day, right? And my wife's like, Jerome's here. I'm like, Jerome Abraham? Yes, Jerome Abraham, your friend. What's he want? He's got a bottle of tequila, what do you think? Okay, come on. Halfway down, he decided we should go see the fireworks at midnight with my pregnant wife in the freezing cold. And she agreed. It was a good idea. We lived downtown and it wasn't a far walk, but it was cold. Awfully cold. And that was a bad idea. After that, he lived his own life, and I became a married man with children and no time for other things. But he always checked up on me. He always would call me out of the blue, and I'd see my call display come up. I'm like, oh, there's a new number for Jerome. And he's like, hey, just want to let you know, I'm checking in on you, I'm keeping track, and you're doing good, and I love you, and hang in there. Okay, thanks. Can I call you? No, not my number, sorry. Oh, just some of the stories I have about him. So, yeah, he touched my life, and I can see by all the people in here that he touched a lot of yours. I'm actually really, really happy about all the people that showed up. It touches me right now. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. So we'll open up the floor there for anyone who'd care to share.
Yeah, I'd like to say
If you feel so inclined. Anyone else? Besides us?
Oh my God. Just pretend you're all naked. Oh, that's not working either. It's beautiful to see everybody here today. You know, you touched on about his early days there, you know, when it was fun. Jerome shared with me quite often about when it wasn't fun, you know. We spent a lot of time together, whether it's playing in the pool league or playing in the softball team, helping me coach my softball team, umpiring, working on the outreach van, and being part of our support group, Colin and Jim. We used to do Saturday nights, UFC night, have dinner, just would cook a dinner. And 4 of us, sometimes a few other fellows would show up. We'd watch the UFC fights together, and every single fight, I was saying this to Jim, we would try to pick who would be the winner, you know what I mean? Like, who's gonna win, we'd keep track of who's gonna win. Jerome knew how to get me. And he would not pick his pick until they were in the ring and the bell was about to ring. And he would say, I want to see the look in their eyes. But anyway, he's a beautiful man. We shared together, like I was saying, some really horrific things that happened to us while we were out there in our addiction. And we'd always come around to where were we at today in our recovery and about how beautiful our lives are, you know. I would tell him, I don't have much, I got a little 2-bedroom apartment, I got a big TV, I got food in the fridge, I'm never hungry anymore, and I'm never dope sick anymore. And Jerome, he had a way of just bringing the best out of every situation, no matter what we were in, you know. I'm gonna miss you so much, Jerome. How are you too? You're my best friend.
Dad got me this shirt in Chile.
Bought him that shirt and chill out.
My name's Mark, I guess I'm an addict. Anyways, wow, there's a lot of people here. I've known Jerome for like 20 years. I struggled with addiction for a good 20 years of my life. And, you know, I never got to see Jerome in his final days, but like, Jerome's like a big part of my life. Like I wouldn't be clean today, like if it wasn't for him. Like I'm coming up to 3 years clean, and I remember living in Kelowna, and at the roughest time of my life, and you know, Jerome, every week he'd reach out to me. Come to Discovery House, come to Discovery House. You want a better life? You know, what other options do you have, right? And I'd be like, no, right? And then I'd look at my phone again, and there would be Jerome, once again. Come to Discovery House, right? And you know, I remember like I had nowhere else to go, right, and no other option. And I remember coming to Discovery House, and you know, like Jerome got me in there like right away, and you know, me and Jerome are a lot of I was kind of arrogant in the beginning, you know, and stuff like that, and like I don't know, like it was funny. I heard somebody share today, and you know, Jerome always called me too, right? Like, and I have all the messages on my phone from like our communication, right? And I don't know, I just like, part of me, like, he lives within inside me, and for me, like, to move on in my life, like, I want to walk in his steps and help other people, right? Because, you know, Jerome just wanted the best, you know, the best for me, and like, yeah, like, I owe my recovery to him. Like, I don't know if I'd be alive today if it wasn't for him, so that's all I got. Thanks.
Hi, my name's Rob. I'm another addict in recovery that Jerome influenced and helped out along the way. Me and Mark came up here together because we both said, you know, it's pretty nerve-wracking to get up. We can do it together and then it won't be so bad, but I don't know if it made any difference. But and we also have a connection through Jerome. I remember I sponsored Mark, and I remember when Jerome came up to me and he goes, "Hey, you should really sponsor this guy." And I'm like, "Well, why is that?" "Well, he really needs a guy like you. He's exactly like I was when I first started in recovery." I looked at him and I was like, "He can't be that bad." "And what do you mean by a guy like me?" So, you know, and that's what, like Mark said, you know, here he is because of Jerome. 3 years clean, full-time job, has his own place, got his license. That's all because of Jerome's influence, right? And as for me, you know, I got a couple funny stories with him because I like how they say he had a special way of ball in this thing, and that's a funny way to put it. Yeah. I'm pretty sure we got another coach and some umpires in the ball community here, and see, I coached him for a few years with the 10, and last year was the NA tournament, and this is what NA is like, and this is how much we love Jerome. Is usually with a bunch of addicts, no matter how much clean time you have, no one wants to sit. Everybody wants to play. You know, you look at, hey, you gotta sit half the game. And they'll look at you. But we all wanted Jerome. We know he wasn't doing his best, but everybody on the team said, let's get Jerome to play. I'll sit. Every one of the guys were willing to sit just to let Jerome play half the game. And he got on the field. He did the typical Jerome thing. He pitched. He got 2 batters out. He got 2 walks because he won't take a courtesy swing at nothing. He could be winning 27-0, he'll take the walk. And so he got, you know, to annoy the other team. And then of course in the final end of the game, his final inning, one of the girls hit a bunt and she touched the ball while she was running first. So Jerome decided to start an argument with the entire team, the umpire. He brought up how he was an umpire, and that's not how you love the game anyway. But, you know, it was just a great way to see Jerome play his last game, right? And also during that tournament, even though he wasn't doing his best, he umpired a few games, and he came and coached with Chilling, and he was part of that entire thing, right? He couldn't play too much, but he was there with us, and that's all that mattered. And the way I was gonna, he helped me get my job. I work for Ask Wellness Society, which is low barrier housing, and I used to be a construction worker. I had no experience in this, but I took a bad fall a few years ago, and the doctor said it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. You won't be able to continue on doing what you do for a living. So I talked to Jerome, and I was like, I think I'll try working at the shelter. He goes, no. He goes, I got a better fit for you. You should try work for Ask Wellness. It's a little more along your lines, right? I was like, well, I got no experience. He goes, well, use me as a reference. So I was like, okay. Anyway, I did the job interview, first time I ever did a job interview, and then he phoned Jerome, and Jerome gets off. He phones me up afterwards. He goes, holy cow, I was on the phone for an hour with your coordinator. And I go, yeah, how'd it go? He goes, did I ever have to tell a whole bunch of bullshit to get in there? He said, I told so many lies, I don't even remember what I said. He goes, so when you go in there, just smile and say yes, okay? And you know what? I've been there for 4 years now, and I plan on retiring with that organization. He even came there and spoke. You know, he came, we do a little recovery meeting every other Sunday. He wasn't doing his best, and he managed that. He came in, and he goes, well, how long do I get to speak? And I'm like, well, 15, 20 minutes if you need to. So 55 minutes later, when he was done, every resident was speechless on the edge of their chair, and they kept coming up to me for weeks asking if Jerome was ever going to come back and talk. Right? So, you know, and like it's been said, I look out at meetings and I don't want to let him go either, and I'm not going to let him go, because I look out at all of our meetings now, or any recovery function, and I kind of do it by generations. There's a guy Jerome influenced, and now that guy's influencing that guy, and that guy's influencing that guy, that guy's influencing, and I think I've gone back about 5 generations. I'm chairing a meeting, right? You know what? He's never going to be gone. So all you got to do is look out there and see the people he influenced and helped out, and he's with us, right? So with that, I'll say goodbye.
Yeah, Rob.
Hello, my name is Shirley, and I'm a grateful member of Al-Anon. I'm a grateful member of Al-Anon because of my son. And I want to thank the Discovery House for giving me my son back. There was a period of time in his life when we weren't sure that he was going to make it. And we tried a few things, you know, sometimes, well, one time I drove him to a recovery house in Kamloops, and I think he was back in Kelowna before I got there. And, you know, I mean, I did all the usual things, right, that a mom would do to try and stop it, and nothing worked. So my last ditch was to go to Al-Anon, and they helped me to understand a little bit about the disease that he was entrapped in. So I owe my experience in Al-Anon to Jerome, and you know, I've learned more from my son than I got from anybody else on this earth. Some of the things I learned I didn't want to know, but you know, he's taught me how to love unconditionally. He was my firstborn, and you know, I never knew I could feel that way about another person. And you know, I know that the community here is going to miss him, and I will certainly miss him for the rest of my life. I was fortunate enough to be able to go out and speak with my son a few times, a couple times at Discovery House, and one time we went to Vancouver to a place there, and we spoke together there. And those were some of my proudest times with him, because well, I don't have to explain who he was. You all know who he was. He could be frustrating and driving you crazy nuts, but you know, he always had such a heart of gold that, you know, even in the darkest times, I felt that there was something special about my son, just like every mother does. But you know, looking out at you today, I know that I was right. He was a special man. So I thank you all so much for being here. It's heartwarming to see how many lives he's touched. And thank you all.
My name's Mark. I'm sorry I was Jerome's sponsor, and this is the trauma that he will do for many years. I met Jerome at a meeting in Kelowna. I guess if he was housed for 14 years, it would be 18, 20 years ago. He was struggling. He would get clean, he would relapse, he would get clean, he would relapse. But he taught me 3 really important lessons that I've carried forward and thought about a lot. The last one, particularly since he passed. The first lesson I learned was, I live in Summerline, I was working in Kelowna, and Jerome lived in West Kelowna. And whether he was clean or not, it didn't matter. Sometimes he would call me, and I was his sponsor, and I'd pick him up and talk on the phone. In fact, he called my home so many times. My one daughter can do a really good impression of Jerome. and if you're old enough and you remember Carlton, the doorman, that was Jerome. So my daughter still does or used to do a pretty good impression of Jerome. But anyway, on the one trip, I picked Jerome up from West Kelowna and was driving into Kelowna. And we were just chit-chatting. And I had learned not to ask if he was clean or not. It didn't matter. If he wanted to talk about it, he could, or he just needed a ride, that's good. That unconditional love that we have for each other. He said, hey, can I get 20 bucks because I gotta get lunch at work today? And I was like, yeah, no problem. So I gave him 20 bucks and dropped him off downtown, and then I went to work. And about 10 minutes after I dropped him off, I phoned my sponsor, and I was like, I think I just got taken for $20. And my sponsor laughed and laughed and laughed. So the first thing Jerome taught me is don't loan addicts money. The second thing Jerome did was he called. He called all the time. And I don't pick up the phone well, but Jerome taught me to pick up the phone. It's the most important lesson I've learned in recovery is to pick up the phone. Doesn't matter, just pick up the phone. And if they don't answer, call somebody else. Just keep calling, right? And Jerome taught me that. And it was really annoying because he would call all the time. And I didn't want to talk to anybody. And my sponsor laughed because I said, this kid's really annoying, this guy calls all the time. But he really wanted to get clean. And he kept calling, right? And I remember it was matching green garbage day. I remember I picked him up in Kelowna and dropped him at E-House. And he was my second sponsee. He was the first one to complete the steps. I burst into tears and hugged him when he finished. And he comforted me. He didn't cry, oddly enough, but I was a wreck. It was beautiful. And the third thing that Jerome taught me was, briefly I was, I don't know, for a couple of years I was on the board of Discovery Bus. And Jerome was the director, I guess. I don't remember the exact title. And we were managing his time between running the house and fundraising. And it was becoming overwhelming. It was very stressful for Jerome because there's a lot of responsibilities with both aspects of it. And he drew some really clear boundaries about where he felt he needed to be and what we needed to do as a board. And I think the third thing that I learned from Jerome is don't judge somebody on who they were yesterday. Right? Because I wasn't even sure when Jerome became the director that he would be able to do the job. Because part of me held on to that person that he was when he was using, right? And we have to learn to put that stuff behind us, no matter how much you've been hurt, and move forward. Because there is no going back, right? You can't go back. You have to move forward. And I really love Jerome. I miss him a lot. And yeah, I'll be sitting between the trees listening to the wind. So thanks.
I'm going to sneak right in here. My name is Sandy, and I'm a member of AA. I was there when Mark came into Discovery House, and he would come to our meetings on the reserves in Penticton. And we went, that's how I met him. And I want to say thank you to Cassandra and Leif and his family.
Leif.
Yeah, Leif.
Leif.
Leif, I'm sorry. Trust me, I will never
People got
forget.
my name wrong. I'm Leif.
In those days, I was the official cake maker, and Jerome asked me to make him his cake for his first AA birthday, and I will never forget that, because as you know, he's a foodie, and he really liked my cake, so that has stuck in my memory. But I also want to remember him as a person. Not as the person that most of us know him as being the direct ED of Discovery House, but the man himself, who had a laughter that was beyond anyone's expectation. When you hear it the first time, it scares you. But then after that, it's like, it's the only way it could be. And today, you know, through the years of his sobriety and becoming the ED of Discovery House, he always knew that he could phone Sandy and Adam for help and fundraising and or money that he needed, and or soup pots, you know, to make soup for those Lent days, Lent Fridays, I think it was. Anyway, thank you to Jerome's family for sharing him with us, and to all the members of NA and AA and the community at large. Where would we be today without these homes? And I need to mention a couple fellows who were there when I'm sure Jerome came through the doors. Kenny Benson and Richard. And Mark is one of them, and Mark. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you again for your part in my life, Jerome. Thanks.
My name is Richard, and I had the honor of working with Jerome as a board member for Discovery House for a number of years, and Mike was there for many of them, and many other people too, and he was an amazing and gifted human being, and I really enjoyed our time working together, and so good to hear all the tributes and affirmations of him as a person. So I wanted to offer a prayer this afternoon just for the whole community. So if it's your habit to bow your head when you pray, do that, or whatever you prefer to do, but let us pray. Loving Creator, we thank you for Jerome, who was so near and dear to us, and who has now been taken from us. We thank you for the friendship he gave, and for the strength and peace he brought. We thank you for the love he offered, and the love he received while he was with us on earth. We pray that nothing good in Jerome's life will be lost, but will be of benefit to the world. That all that was important to him will be respected by those who follow, and that everything in which he was great will continue to mean much to us now that he has died. We ask you that we may go on living, and that he may go on living in his children, in his family and friends and colleagues, in their hearts and minds, in their courage and in their consciences. And we ask that we who were close to him may now, because of his death, be even closer to each other, and that we may, in peace and friendship here on earth, always be deeply conscious of your promise to be faithful to us in death. We pray for ourselves, who are severely tested by this death, that we do not try to minimize this loss or seek refuge from it in words alone, and also that we do not brood over it so that it overwhelms us and isolates us from others. Grant us courage and confidence as we continue this journey together. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Richard.
There's a lot of people. Kind of took a little bit to come up here, but I felt Jerome's push for me to come up here. I've known Jerome for the last 10 years. He changed my life. He is the reason that I am in the career path I have chosen is because of him. I didn't know what I was doing 10 years ago. I didn't know how I was going to live another day of my life. I was at the point in my life of taking my life and leaving my 3 children behind. And I remember going in feeling so hopeless with my life, and I didn't know what to do. And I remember sitting in that meeting, and there's this man, and he's talking with this confidence, he's talking about this, and I'm like, well, who is this person? Like, you know, he's full of it. This is not life. This is not how life works. And as I got to know him more, I realized the change that he has made in his life, and it was very inspiring. He made sure, I have 3 boys, there's the law of the father. In the last 10 years, Jerome has messaged me every single Father's Day to tell me Happy Father's Day. He messages me, randomly he'll message me if he hasn't seen me or heard of me and ask me how I'm doing. I put myself through college in 2016, 2015 and started my career path. And about 2 months ago, I got a random message from him just reminding me how proud he is of me and the path I've taken in life. And he said, you're following in mine and Richard's footsteps. Those were big words to me because to me, I don't feel that way about myself. I'm doing what I love, and my love is to help people change their lives as well. There's a thing saying that I was going through my head as I'm sitting there. It reminds me of him. Be the voice for those that are voiceless. Be the hope for those that are hopeless. Always be better than who you were yesterday. And remember to live just for today, because no one is promised tomorrow. And I know he's touched every single one of us in this room, and we are beyond grateful to have a partner. Thank you.
I'm Peter Macbeth.
Hi, Peter.
Hi, Peter.
And I'm Jerome's oldest son. I only met him when I was 18, and I was still kind of getting to know him throughout his illness and when he passed away. But it was immediately very clear to me that he welcomed me with unconditional love, and his family as well, and my family. And he's my dad, and he has done really great things and touched a lot of lives. And I'm really grateful that I was able to meet him at the time that I did, even though it was late. because of his position that he was in his life. And I'm very proud of what he's done. And he told me that he was proud of me too. And, you know, I feel like I haven't done anything. I'm just a young adult, and I, you know, was really nervous meeting him, right, and getting to know him because I want to impress him too. But he always told me that he loved me, and that he was proud of me, and I would go on that proud of him too, Dan.
My name is Jim and I'm a recovering addict. This is a big meeting. I sponsored Jerome for the last 9 to 10 years and got to know that guy pretty good. He was really good at picking up the phone, usually between 8:30 and 9:30, and doing that check-in before he went to sleep to make sure that he could sort out his day. And quite often he had quite challenging days, and we had some pretty lengthy conversations, him and I, and you know, the last conversation that I had with him, I was at work and I'm a drywaller and I'm sanding ceilings and the dust is coming down over my head, and he's telling me that cancer had spread to his liver and his lymph nodes, and he probably didn't have too long to live. And we talked about doing the MAID program, and I said to him how grateful I was for him having chosen me as his sponsor for that time. He's truly been a blessing, as you all can attend to. This is a huge room that he's touched so many lives, you know. A friend of mine once told me, you'll never underestimate the impact you can have on somebody, and may it be a good one. And he exemplified that to the fullest. Every day when he put his shoes on and went out and did his executive director role, and I remember when we went, he canvassed the whole neighborhood, and we were about to get the house on Winnipeg Street, and he canvassed the whole neighborhood for weeks. You know, and he said to everybody he knew, come on, we're going to City Hall on this day, on this evening, and he went down and stood in front of all the councilors and people at City Hall, and answered all their questions and doubts, and stood there like a champ, and he got the zoning changed, and the Winnipeg House turned into Discovery House, 12 beds from there on, and it just kept growing and growing from there. And getting clean can be a really empowering thing for people, and so true for Jerome. To be that little sweaty, awkward, sarcastic guy that came into the house and to what he's done and how he's touched us all is truly great. I believe in the power of greatness and doing the right thing for the right reason, and I just feel so blessed that he's touched me and made me a better man. Thank you, family, for sharing him with us. Appreciate that. Thanks. Thanks, Tim.
Hi, everyone. My name is Glenn Slavins. Grateful recovering addict also. Yeah, you know what, why I go to NA? Because we don't come up to these podiums very often. You know, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, oh man, this is such a big room, and you know, I've been clean a long time, and it's still public sharing is not always number one on my list. Anyways, I feel like I've known Jerome in 2 different lives, and I've had the privilege of that. You know, I've known him for about 30 years. somehow we bumped into each other in Kelowna back in the mid-90s, and we connected, and we hung out, and we had many misadventures together, I guess you could say. It's, you know, a lot of it was fun, until it wasn't anymore. Dave, is it? You know, listening to you share about, you know, going to Banff with Jerome. I too was also dragged to Banff with Jerome. It was an adventure. There was 3 of us and my little baby Rottweiler puppy. We were off to go on this adventure in an old International Scout with the rooftop off of it, and off we went, and we ended up in Nelson, and there was a rave on the side of this mountain, and we hung out there for a bit, and next thing you know, we're in Banff, and just we're in this campsite, and me and Jerome were sleeping in the truck. The dog was tied up out on the camp pad, and our other friend Jack, he's out sleeping on the camp pad. I wake up to Jerome honking the horn and turning the lights on, and so there's like a herd of elk ready to, and the dog's going off, and the herd of elk is ready to trample Jack out laying on the camp. It's like, oh man. Anyways, we survived that trip, and we made it back, and you know, life, I don't know, you know, there was a lot of great memories of that, but you know, we both went down that road where it wasn't so great anymore, and I ended up leaving Kelowna in '98 to find recovery. It didn't last too long. I ended up down the coast, and you know, a couple of years later, thank God I made it back. And you know, I lost track of Jerome over the years. You know, one of my favorite days in my life was I was at a ball tournament in Penticton here, 2016 I think it was, and all of a sudden there's Jerome out on the ball field, and it's like, oh my God, it's Jerome, and it's like, he's like, yeah, hey, Randall, it's so good to see you, and it's like, what, you're not dead either, and it's like, you know, and then he kind of went off on his way again, and then we connected again, and he says, I'm back and I'm in recovery, and I said, well, you know, I've been waiting for you, right? How much it means when you've known somebody from out there in the past, in that life, to make it back and to start changing their life and start being a better person. And, you know, it gets that heart going, right? Those warm feelings, and, you know, the beautiful thing is, I mean, I live down the coast still, but you know, the one thing with Jerome is we've always connected, and we didn't always talk often, but when we did, you know, we had some great stories and great talks about life and stuff, and yeah, you know, it's every time he was in Vancouver or I was up here, we had connected, and usually it's over food, right? You know, we joke around in the program of Narcotics Anonymous where we put down the spoon and we pick up the fork, right? Yeah, I came into the rooms soaking wet, about 130 pounds, and now I'm twice the man I used to be. Right? Like Jerome, I also use humor as a way of getting at feelings sometimes. And boy, he could be sarcastic, and I appreciate that, because I can be too. You know, it's funny, in recovery, he has a way of calling you out on stuff in a certain way where it's just the right amount of to sort of dig it in, but also lovingly at the same time. And you know, he shared that with people, and he helped so many people. What a privilege it was to watch him grow in this community, and what he did with Discovery House. You know, from a bystander's point of view, watching how he's rallied community to have a different outlook on addiction. Pull people closer. You know, addiction carries a pretty crazy stigma, right? But you know, Jerome sort of proves that, you know, a tiger can't change their stripes. we can get better. We can do better. And, you know, he's taught me to be that person in my life. You know, I can get busy with life sometimes and forget what it's like, that I need to slow down and I need to pay attention to what's important. It's not always about working and making money, but, you know, but the people, right? You know, I'd come up here and spend time, and he's like, oh, well, you know, come and stay at my place, there's a bed here for you. Lake's gone away for the weekend, you can stay in his room, and it's like this little kid's bed. It's like, oh man, my dad after that.
Where'd I go away for the week?
I don't know where you went. It's like, off on a misadventure, I'm sure. But, and then there was the time, Blake, I don't know, you remember playing hockey down in the basement? Yeah, your dad's like, yeah, Blake wants to have you a game of hockey. And it's like, so, okay, so, you know, you kicked my butt. But I think a big part of that is because you kept changing the rules during that game. I'm not sure where you get that from. But, you know, I don't know. Jerome has such a beautiful family, and I'm glad to sort of feel like I'm part of that. It's a tough thing being here, but you know, I would regret if I wasn't, you know. It's crazy, I had to come from Victoria last night, and then the ferry problems, and then I didn't get into Vancouver till late last night, and then still having to unpack and make up here, and but you know what, it's I need to come and say goodbye to my friend, right? But it's not goodbye. And you know, eventually we're all one day gonna be there, right? And you know, I'm gonna be expecting Jerome to be there saying, I've been waiting for you. Thanks.
My name's Blaine, I'm an alcoholic.
I'm Bruce, and I'm an alcoholic. Hi, Brad.
I was thinking, I had a lot of time to reflect the last couple of weeks, and there's so many great memories with Jerome, I don't even know where to start. How much he used to piss me off. I had to call him Mike, because Jerome had to have his way. But in all honesty, I came through 7.5 years ago when we were on Wade Street with 5 guys, 3 guys in one little room with a sheet across it, which we called the acceptance room. And from there, I was able to transition up to the Winnipeg house where we could serve 12 more men getting into recovery. I spent 90 days there, and then Jerome asked me to be the night monitor. And I said, okay, I'll give it a try. I'm not really quite ready to go back to work yet. I was pretty sick at that time. And I was only gonna do 90 days, and I was gonna leave, go back to my old life, carry on. Well, at 90 days, Jerome said, Blaine, just give me 1 more month. Another 30 days, 1 more month. Another 30 days, 1 more month. Here I am, 7.5 years later, still working there. It's been such an honor to have a mentor like Jerome. You look at how much he's accomplished from going from 5 guys to where there's now 25 guys getting service in the Discovery House. And a lot of men and women in this room that Jerome has touched because of his path. And that guy could raise money. Wow. Wow. I remember the first fundraisers where we made $1,000. And then like 3 years ago, Jerome's like, I'm not getting out of bed unless we make $20,000 on this fundraiser. And he would pull it off. And that's just what Jerome did well. So he always used to say how he was the biggest benefactor of Discovery House because it was able to keep him on his path. And I'm so grateful that I had the honor to work and be with that man. So thank you.
You know, I'm one of the many men in this room who owe my life to Jerome and Discovery House. and I was never a resident there. I came to Jerome about 1.5 years after becoming sober, thoroughly burning my life to the ground, and said, I think I want to help men. I want to help men do what I haven't been able to do for myself. And he didn't look at my past. He didn't look at all the wrongs that I've done, all the mistakes that I've done, how I had burned my life to the ground. He said, great, let's see what you can do today. Let's see what you can do tomorrow. And, you know, it's an honor, and I share the work that we do at Discovery House with a lot of guys, and it's an honor to accept that baton from him and to continue to do the work that he started in this community. But it's also a weight. It was always a joke around the house that if you had a new idea or something that would possibly make us some money fundraising or make the house a little bit better, don't say it around Jerome because you'll get a new project. It'll basically add more hours to your workday, but not to your paycheck. And but you know, that's the way I feel. Like we're sitting, you know, thinking about how we're gonna take this house and continue the pace of growth that he created for us. And it's a lot, but we also know that we've got an amazing blueprint, we've got amazing inspiration, because he taught us how to do this work, and he taught us that never give up on a man who's looking to change his life, and never stop believing that there's a community of people around there that want to see us all do better. And we see that every day, and I can't thank you guys enough for all the support you give us, and I can't thank Jerome for what he's done for me and a lot of people in this room. So thanks so much, you guys.
I'm Randy, and I'm a recovering alcoholic as well. Hey, Randy. Yeah, I decided when I was in recovery, one of the things that we all do is we learn that we should help others. And I decided to give Discovery House a call 10 years ago. And Jerome and Mike invited me to come down there in the little office down on Wade Street. It was like a closet. And we had a meeting, and I ended up volunteering one Sunday a month. And it grew into, Jerome had a way of talking people into doing things. Whenever you said to Jerome, oh, you know, I think we should do this or we should do that. Well, that's a good idea, Randy. You should get right on that. He was really good at delegating. He was my mentor. Anytime I had a problem or was stuck on a way of trying to help one of the guys, I'd always talk to Jerome, and Jerome always had an answer. He's mentored a lot of the guys that are involved at Discovery House. I'm so proud to be involved with Discovery House. And I think Jerome will be with us forever, because one of the things, whenever we have any problems, we always say to each other, what would Jerome do in this situation? And honestly, that's what we do. And I think we'll continue to do that forever. You know, even the people that come along that after now that he's gone, they're gonna know who Jerome is. And I love them very much. And thank you.
We'll have two more speakers, Paul and Dan Ashton, and then we'll be working on wrapping up. Thank you.
I needed to speak. My name is Paul Mend. I had the privilege of teaching at Penn High, psychology. And in 2004, Rodney Aiken, who is not here today, but he knows Jerome, he knows Mike, he knows the crew. Found me on, we were walking and he's like, hey, how you doing? And I told him I was taking over the psychology program. And he said, if you never ever need anybody to come in and speak about addiction, phone me up, I'd love to come and talk. And so I had taught Rodney at Nickel and knew him well, and then he had a story that happened after. And so we had become clean. And he phoned and said, can I bring a friend? And I said, of course. This guy right here. Mike and I have a lot of connections that go way back to Richmond days when Mike was young. And through Mike, Richard and Jerome, they impacted hundreds of grade 11 and 12 students at Penn High. The number of students who quit using came and spoke to me after, came and spoke to Mike after, Jerome, Richard, immense. And so the prevention of going down a path where they could have gone was stopped at 16, 17, 18 years old. Because of Jerome, because of Mike, Richard, and all the other guest speakers that Mike brought in. I just wanted to say that, you know, these guys have such a huge, all of you, right? All of you who share your stories with young people have an impact to help people not go down the paths where some of them had to go, right? And we know that change is inevitable, growth is intentional, choose growth. So that's all I got. Love you, brother.
Thank you, Paul. It's good to know there's teachers out there like you, looking after our kids. Yeah. We'll have Dan and Oprah.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity today. I had the incredible pleasure of knowing Jerome right literally from day one when he came to Penticton, starting off when the church, the Catholic Church on Way Avenue became the first place that individuals could go. And I remember Jerome and others talking to us at the city when I was there. By the way, I would also like to recognize at this point in time, Jerome touched all levels of government. To recognize members of council that are here today, past members of council, members of the regional district, and also our member of parliament who's here. I think we were all on speed dial with Jerome, to be honest with you. and mark my words, it did make a difference in our lives. So he let us know what was needed, what was required, and I know we all did our best to try and help. So when Jerome opened Discovery House, and I remember asking about the opportunity of people in the neighborhood, was it acceptable, everything else, and he said, absolutely, we've got it. I remember when Burdock House opened up on Winnipeg Street, and I asked Jerome, I phoned him actually, and said, Jerome, like, is this something that you want there? And he said, it's going to be a test for those that are in Discovery House. See, that's the way he looked at it. You know, I scratched my head, to be very frank. You know, I scratched my head, but that was Jerome. And I've had the honor also of being on Edna Avenue for the two new places that I opened there. And unbelievable what Jerome and the people that he works with have done for this community and made such a difference in this community. So last week, as a member in Victoria, we have estimates, and that's where you get to chat. Chat is a nice word. You get to be demanding of ministers during an estimate period and ask them what they're doing with their budgets, how are they doing with it, what could they do better. I had the opportunity last week to be in front of addictions, the Minister of Addictions, and very nice lady. But it wasn't the time to ask a question, it was the time to make a statement to her. And I did make that statement, and it's available, you can see it.
And I brought up what just happened to Jerome, and I brought up what the difference that he and Discovery House has made, not only in Penticton, but the numbers of success. And that's what government has to start looking at, is the success ratio.
You got it.
And I begged her to take a look at Discovery House and to go and try what they've been doing to see if we can make a difference, what is helping not only in our community, our beautiful community that we all call home, our valley, our province in Canada, and literally the rest of North America. And I really, really, really hope that the government takes heed and gets the experience that Jerome and the incredible individuals who work with him are bringing to individuals that require need at places like Discovery House. And in closing, to Sandra, Leaf, to the family, please accept our best from all the province, and thank you for what you gave us in Jerome. Thank you.
Yeah, I was hoping so. You can do it.
Okay. My son had a lot to do and a short time to do it. I know he did it well, because I can see in all of you, you wouldn't be here otherwise. Many talks that he and I have had, three main things that really stuck out for him. First was his family, which he believed loved them unconditionally, so he wasn't too worried about us. He knew we were there. Secondly was the house, which to him was his life. It saved him, gave him purpose of life. And thirdly was the sponsorships that you all need, want, and are there to give. His hope is that you will all keep continuing to help others. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jerome. So we're going to start wrapping up. We'll draw the 50-50 here. Smart idea, kept everybody overtime. So a person like Jerome, I just want to thank his family for giving us the experience of Jerome. You don't get a person of that character, such a wonderful father, such a wonderful man with a loving and beautiful family. And it's been my experience, especially with a beautiful dad. So thank you, Jerome. Thank you to the entire family. He's touched us forever. He'll be with me forever. I'm going to be grateful to me and Jerome were of different belief systems, but we were able to share and bond together. He was a Taoist, believed in Taoism, the wind. That poem is so appropriate. Unfortunately, when he was looking into different stuff, got beat up, got Bible thumped, as the saying goes. Didn't want to hear a particular word from my lips at all until good old Will Ferrell through Ricky Bobby changed that all. Because I was able to share with him, thanks to the 10-pound, 11-ounce baby Jesus. And nobody's been beat up by baby Jesus before. So I always knew when there's good news from Jerome, because he'd phone and say, thank you, Dow and baby Jesus. So I'll be forever grateful to Will Ferrell. I think we'll do the 50-50 here.
Get Leaf to pick it. He always picks it.
But he's got some tickets. I'm gonna get
Oh.
Peter actually.
Oh, Peter?
You didn't buy it.
Okay.
Peter's gonna come up and take them in late.
Yeah, that one.
All right, so the black ticket, you guys all got your 50-50 tickets out? So the last four numbers are 3168 on a black ticket. 3168.
Okay, redraw. Good job.
Yeah, you don't know Jerome, you don't redraw. There's a chance to come up. Andrew will be here. If you have the ticket, please come up. But we're going to finish up now. I'd just like to remind everyone, Jerome, you know, as we've heard, Jerome was an amazingly capable person. I've had the great privilege of standing beside him, filling the photocopier whenever it ran out of paper, the printer, and be able to say, look what we've done together. Truth is, Jerome was smarter, more educated, and far more capable than me. And it's easy to think, wow, I can't do this or whatever, but Jerome's real superpower was three things. The first one was he called for help if he needed it. He wasn't afraid to reach out. Please, if you're hurting, take it from him, phone somebody. We've got a community full of people who will help you, no matter whether it's addiction or whatever it is. Phone, get help. His other superpower was compassion. Jerome always had time. No matter what he was going through, in the middle of it, if he thought you were hurting, he asked you how you were doing, and he cared, and he took the time to listen. And his greatest superpower was gratitude. Okay, that was his real key to everything. He never forgot that somebody took a little time out of their busy day to come down and help him with the garbage bags to stay at Discovery House. That somebody took a moment to unconditionally love him and believe in him. And Jerome never forgot that, and he set out to multiply that and multiply that. And that's something we're all capable of doing when we leave here in honor of him. Just help somebody. Recognize it and just help. You don't have to be great. You don't have to be super. Just care. That's it. That was his great superpower. So in closing, I'd like to simply say thank you to the Dow and baby Jesus for my friend. Thank you.